Next, let's do one thing. Let's explore this load balancer YAML file. Okay. Now in this load balancer YAML file, you can look into this elastic load balancer. It talks about the resource name for creating the load balancer. And if I come further down, we've got LSBSD, which are nothing but the resource name for creating the security group for my load balancer. Okay, and we have the outputs. So outputs is nothing but getting the name of the load balancer using the output to refer it in the auto scaling group. Okay, now if I open this nested stack, okay, this is the template of my nested stack. So this template is what we use it for creating the stack with nested asg.yml and nested alb.yml. Now here, what we can do right now is in this nested stack.yml, okay, so we will have to change the template URL. So let me validate whether it is correct or not. So nested ASG, first thing is nested ASG. It should be this S3 Slab. Okay, I'll have to modify this URL for this nested ASG. Now let's do one thing. I think this is a, so let me just modify it right now. So first one, I'll have to change it for my nested ASG. So I'll copy this URL and I'll paste it over here. So I'll assign the correct value. Okay. The next thing is ELB stack. That is my elastic load balancer. So I'm going to get that as well. I've mentioned the template URL right here. Now, once this is done, I think we should be good. So ensure that you modify it. Even whenever you're practicing at your system as well, ensure that you change these values because it keeps on changing depending on the bucket name that you have specified and the file name that you have. And once this is done, like we have mentioned some more resources and everything, guys. Okay, that is what we can do right now. Next, what we can do over here is I'm going to upload this file to to this AWS S3. So I'm going to say save as, and I'll save it on my desktop. Now, once I save it on my desktop, I'm going to re-upload for my S3 bucket. I'll click on the upload, add file. So this is going to upload. Okay. Now, once the upload has been complete, I'll just click on this object and I'm going to copy its object URL. So I'll copy this object URL. So this is my updated object URL. Okay. So now that I've got the object URL, the next thing is we are going to create a web server with an auto scaling group and a load balancer using this CloudFormation nested stack. I'll go back to my CloudFormation. So once I start my CloudFormation, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a stack and my template is ready, my Amazon S3 URL. And for this Amazon S3 URL, I'll have to specify this nested stack URL. Next, I am going to click on the next button. And here we'll have to mention the stack name. I'm going to say my nested stack. Okay. Next, I'm going to click on the next button. Now, once I click on the next button, so here it's going to mention, like it is asking me to specify the key. I'll mention the key as name. and I'll say my nest stack. This is the name that I'm going to give right now. I'll use the default values as it is, and I'll click on the next button. Now, once I click on the next button here, so I'll just we have the various things, like we just have to review each and everything. So once we review each and everything, I'm going to say first we'll have to acknowledge, okay, these two things. So we'll have to acknowledge these two things, then only it will allow us to create the stack. We'll say create stack, and this is going to initialize the activity of creation of stack. See, it says my nested stack. Now first I'm creating this elastic load balancer stack. So that is getting initialized right now. Now we'll wait for a minute to complete, and then we'll be able to validate the resources. Now what I'll do right now is, so here, let's go to the auto scaling group. Okay, I'll go to my EC2. Now if I go to my EC2, okay, now ELB stack has been completed. Now the web server stack. Okay, now under this EC2, so I can go to the auto scaling groups. So I'll click on this auto scaling groups. So here I've got a name that says as my nested stack. I'm going to click on this auto scaling group, and under the details, you can clearly observe the auto scaling group name, my nested stack. See, this is the confirmation that this auto scaling group has been created from this CloudFormation stack. Okay, so this is what we can confirm, guys. Now, if I go to the EC2 again and select my instances, see, I've got a nested web server. Nested web server has been created over here, and we've got the instance ID, we've got the instance type is t2.micro. So that is what we can observe. And if I click on one of the instance ID, and if I come further below, and if I click on the security, here it says SG and my nested stack web stack 1. So this clearly says that this is what we have configured, guys. Okay, so this is what we can clearly observe. This is what it has been used right here. So everything that we have created is from our CloudFormation stack. And okay, now if I come further down, yes, you can check each and everything, guys. Everything that we have created, it's all created with the help of the CloudFormation stack. Okay, next, what we can do is we can check for load balancer. So I'll click on my load balancer. Under the load balancer, so we can see that my nested elastic load balancer. So it has been created from this scenario of this CloudFormation stack. Okay, now if I click on this and if I select my instances, it's going to tell me that, so the nested web server, so this elastic load balancer is connected to this two EC2 instances, that is nested web server. Next, we can go over here and we can do multiple things, guys. Now what I'm going to do right now is I'll click on the description, and here we've got the DNS name, everything is present, and it is available in these availability zones. Now what we can do over here is, let's look at the DNS name. So the DNS name is this is our DNS name. Okay, now I'm going to copy this DNS name, and I'll paste it over here in my browser and I'll press the enter. See, I've got a message that says as test page of server created at Thursday, June 16th, 3:19 UTC 2022. What it has done is, so when I pasted this DNS name in the browser, so we've got the output which says that my load balancer is actually routing the traffic to my instances. Okay, so it is routing the traffic to my instances. And if you note down the timestamp, so if you note down this timestamp, and if you here it says 3:19, okay, UTC 2022. Let's refresh it and see whether we get the different times. See, like 3:99, and if I refresh it again, I've got from a different server itself. So 3:19, 14. Okay, so this is what we can observe on this given scenario, which says that we are getting the response from the other server, which was actually created at a different timestamp. This confirms that the load balancer is routing the traffic across both the server. And we have successfully created two web server and the auto scaling group and the load balancer and route the traffic using the nested stack in a CloudFormation, guys.